Huling banat mula rito sa former head coach ng ating kababayan sa NBL matapos nga itong big loss na nakuha ng Adelaide 36ers kahapon kontra sa koponan ng Melbourne United. Yan matapos mong ilike ang video na ito, mag-subscribe sa ating channel at pakidamay na rin ang ating opisyal na Facebook page.
Pero bago natin simulan, alam mo bang isa ang 1xBet sa mga leading betting company sa buong mundo? Kaya naman huwag nang magdalawang isip pa at tumalpak na.
Yeah, it was a high-paced, high-scoring game, as you mentioned, and shooting those type of percentages tells you that everyone's locked in for a shot at the playoffs, and to be able to score the ball like that, that's like NBA type stats, and it was a great atmosphere, great game, and disappointing that we didn't come away with the win.
Just with Kyron, it seemed like you had the intent of, obviously chasing the playoffs and getting that 20 plus whatever point lead. How confident were you going in that you guys had the capacity to actually go in and do that and compete?
Well, we hadn't done it all season, but again, changing the lineups, being able to stretch them and shoot the three ball. Clearly, they went to switching and trying to take away a few different things. And at the other end of the floor, I thought we were both chasing for the same thing, like one a win and two by a lead as big as possible to give ourselves every chance. So. I spoke to the boys when we got to the airport about the change of the lineup for Kai and KG, and they were good with it, and told the team about it in the morning, and here's what we're running and how we're going to go and do it to give ourselves every chance to get into the playoffs.
Both teams are playing with a lot of urgency, obviously. 21 offensive rebounds is a number that stands out, obviously. What do you point to as far as is that different?
Yeah, there's a few shots, a few fouls that, if you make some tough shots, as Gordon can, and he did, even though they didn't count at the end of the half. All those little things of just being there, arriving with a hand. Sometimes they make tough shots. Boxing out's a big one, especially when it leads to a kick out three ball. There's still some things that you'd like to take back. Rebounding was part of it. Clearly some of our turnovers came at the wrong time, but having 11 turnovers is also the league average, I guess, and where we're at. And so, we didn't shoot ourselves in the foot that way and beat ourselves that way. But yeah, I think shooting the ball the way that we did, we gave ourselves every shot to go and do it. I think defensively, a couple communication, a couple breakdowns, which happens for both sides. But yeah.
This is probably your best shooting performance of the season. Do you have a sense, do you feel at least any solace in the fact that you left everything out there?
Yeah, it's good to have a good game because it's a long off season, so it helps a little bit, I guess. Just wanted to go out there and play hard.
Is the second year of your contract guaranteed? Is there options that
Nah, I'm back. Yeah, it's the second year.
Are you under the impression that Rob is also back?
I would think so.
CJ, I guess the last couple of weeks, for obvious reasons, you've had to still be positive and talk about the things you could potentially achieve, but now that we're here, how do you, I guess, look at the big picture of missing out based on what your goals were?
It's disappointing. I guess you look at the names, but it's just names on paper. Trying to get them to communicate and come together and be as a unit throughout the season was a tough challenge. As you know, we had disruptions and throughout the season. So, but overall, I take responsibility. Right, like this was. Last year I came in 2 weeks before the season. Right now I was able to put 7 guys in. Did I have enough time with them? Probably not, but no one's, again, not making excuses. As I said, I take the brunt of it, not being able to have guys play to a standard that where I saw them and how they help us. And obviously as fans, and there's many fans out there that wanted to see their stars play, and I'm pretty sure the players wanted to play more. But when you have that sort of depth on your team, trying to manage that was a challenge in itself, and there's a reason why a lot of teams don't do it that way. But from what I had last year to this year, was a big coup to go and recruit those type of players and have that sort of be able to recruit that sort of talent in, and to go to the United States and go and do what we did was. While it was a blessing, it was also something that, I think pretty sure most teams will revisit and do some things, but it was good for a lot of different reasons, for the league, for the country, and while it put a target on our back, and we had a lot to go through throughout the season, it's something that you need to reevaluate and assess. But there's a lot of things that, for myself, for the club to again reassess. But I'm excited to start digging the off season. I need to have a break. I didn't have one last off season. We lost JVG as a basketball GM, and I stayed in and I vowed that it was going to be better. We had 6 sellouts. It was better. We had a talented team. Everyone's talking about us. We went overseas. We did something. Everyone's still talking about us. While it didn't come together, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed for myself, for my players, for our sponsors, for our fans, for the community. But this is all learnings, and as you know in life, if you don't get back up, then what are you, right? And like I said, I'll take bits and pieces out of this and reevaluate and come back and be able to look you all in the eye and keep progressing and moving forward.
I remember, it feels like a while ago now, but talking to you in Darwin about trying how you can settle into this season. I know the league will have different ideas and the club might have different ideas. Would you put your hand up to do that again, to go to the US, given what it means for the season?
Yeah, if I get enough time to get with the group and have enough times in the off season, guys are playing FIBA window and doing different things to get everything in place, spend time together so we all know who we are, instead of we're in the United States and coming back and our season started and it was like showtime. Everyone's in our faces and the cameras are there and everyone wants to know what's going on and why isn't he not playing? Where's that star guy? We want to see him score 40 points and shoot the deep three. You guys were all into all that. It was a soap opera, and while we're not the Chicago Bulls or the Golden State Warriors, it sort of felt like that for coming back, for what we accomplished in such a short period, and for everyone to understand everyone's personalities, to everyone understand where we're at as a team, to what we're trying to achieve. Like, we only spoke about it. I didn't deep dive into that as much as I should have.
You nodded and smiled when I asked that question.
I'm trying to go back.
Yeah. I mean, it seemed from the outside that this team, for a variety of reasons, didn't quite get settled. Is that accurate? I mean, how did you see this season play out?
I mean, you just never know. Even if we didn't go and the same thing happened, so I don't really know how to answer that. I feel like they didn't have nothing to do with it. It's a long season, so we just can't pinpoint us going to the States for everything. Like, we have more than enough time to regroup and get ourselves back together. So I wouldn't put it on that.
You too. What have you said about not having a break last year, but what do you think you've sort of learned along the journey? Because it has been a very, very different year to what it was last year for you, I imagine.
Definitely. Obviously dealing with a group of talented guys and put them in position to succeed, making sure managing everyone's expectations from our fans to our players, to understand how you perform and play, the urgency, taking on the identity of myself. As a coach, you want them to take on that identity. I don't think we did that. I didn't do a good job in that space, and I need to make sure that next year that the identity that you see of this team is me. Right now, I got to put a team together. That was good. Next year, again, taking a leap forward of making sure that they not only represent the club the right way, but you see more of me.
I guess how frustrating was, I mean, you were in a pretty good position, and then you went on a losing streak real late. I guess how frustrating was that aspect of the season? You seem to be in a pretty strongish position.
Yeah, I mean, our season's been a game of runs, as you've seen. You get up, you get down, you big leads, you lose leads. We've had all sorts, and so yeah, it's frustrating when you're getting it right and you're trying to work your way through it and trying to find solutions. It's all about finding solutions. Sometimes when you play, 2 games in 4 days or whatever it is, it's all those little things that you need to manage and make sure everyone's healthy and ready to go. I think there's all bits and pieces that come to it. Not having a guy miss so many games when you lose a guy like Randall, sitting out five games and to bring ICN at the time we did. Wanted to give Nick a chance, obviously, to play to see if we can go that way without an import. But as you know, most teams, when since it's gone to 3 imports, most teams need 3. If you're going to go win and succeed in this competition, there's a lot of things that stand out that you need to continue to work on.
AC, second year in the league, you were part of a pretty successful group last year with the Hawks. You talked about you and Rob being back next year. How do you look at, I guess, the core of this group and how far you need to get to be more successful next year as a group? Like, how far off do you think you really were this year with that core? You, Rob, Mitch, Dream, Sunday, those sort of guys. If you're all back together next year, how close do you think you are to actually breaking through to better standing?
I think experience is good regardless, you know. Part of Sydney getting up to a great start is that they got their main core guys back. So even though we didn't accomplish what we wanted, these games meant something. And I think coming back with that same core and that same group, it'll help just, you know, being familiar with one another and also just remembering this feeling, you know. You win like a man, but you got to lose like one too. So I think that'll be the mindset throughout the offseason and just motivate you. But it's a pretty tough league, but I think everyone pretty much knows what it takes to win in this league.
What have you learned this year as opposed to last year? Do you think will help you take you through into 2024?
Every game matters. Every game matters. You don't want to be in this position, having to win at the last game of the year or needing anyone's help. So, you know, even from week one, those games matter. The points matter. I don't want to hear nobody complaining about points at the end of the game. I learned that matters now. So next year I'm scoring every chance I get into the game, like little things like that. But just remembering this feeling. Like I said, win like a man, you got to lose like one. So that's my motivation throughout this offseason, and I'll be excited to come back and just get back on that winning side.
Just on AC, I think, again, what an amazing season he's had for us. When you're in Illawarra and you've got Tyler Harvey and Jessup and Duart Reef and X, you know, like there's a lot of talent on that floor that you saw. And for Gorge, who he's a magic magician, and you know, not only for Australia, and he's done it for a long time, able to manage personalities and do that sort of thing. But for his performance and what he was able to do in Wollongong, he didn't have that role. The role here was a bigger picture, and while we always saw the defence out of him last year, this year you got to see the man evolve. And again, I need him to come back and evolve a little more and continue to grow and be more of a leader for this group as well, but own what he's been able to do and carry on with that. So proud of this guy.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Jay, what changes do you think need to happen in the off-season to make sure you guys are more successful next season?
There's quite a few things which, I mean, if we sit here, you don't have enough tape or time for me to go through all that sort of stuff. But as I said, go reevaluate it. Clearly, you'll see and know as the off-season progresses on some of the changes that needed to happen have happened, and others that will take its due course in time.
Have you been able to you talk about the process of finding your own feet and how this role works in different years and the changes? How have you been able to enjoy trying to find that process and then dealing with the pressure that obviously you guys have had this year?
Yeah, I think it's been a challenge. Again, as a coach is different than a player, but as a coach, I've enjoyed the challenge. Clearly, the challenge has got the better of us, and at time it got the better of me, and not being able to get this come with a W. And while some games have been close, it's like anything, you got to learn and develop, and you got to bounce back. There's not much time to go sit in your feelings and be sad and feel sorry, because again, I got to address you guys. I need to address the team, and the words that come out my mouth, I don't want to come with anger. I need to come with the right information that carries on, that represents all of us in the right way, and that everyone understands where we're at and what we need to do to go and achieve those type of things. Thank you.